Okay, yeah, we're live on the stage, and we
Yeah.
should be live streaming as well. Hello there. How's it going?
Are you talking to
Robin,
me? You
Robin.
talking to me?
Yes,
You
I'm
talking to
talking to
me? You
you.
talk.
All righty.
Well,
Okay.
happy September, everybody. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Happy fall. Happy Gulf
Yes,
Coast, as Robert Hill would say. Yeah.
yes. Speaking of Robert Hill, he's been with us from the beginning of the Pensacola Network, and even when we were doing the first Friday networking over in Fort Walton, he's been one of
Yeah,
our media
yeah.
sponsors,
He must
WRNE.
be 25 like me, huh? He must be
Oh, yeah.
25 like me, right? Right. Okay.
Yes, yes. Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we want to give a shout out to our sponsors right here quickly. These are our founding sponsors shown on the screen: Gulf Power, uh, Pensacola, City of Pensacola, Pensacola Chamber, University of West Florida. I could go on, but I guess you can see them. We want to thank like Baptist Hospital, all these Pensacola News Journal media sponsors, Channel 3. I could go on and on, but we're excited that they've been supporting us all these years. So we want to just let them know we really appreciate them, and you all out on Facebook, LinkedIn, let the folks know we appreciate what they're doing to support the Pensacola Network and bringing so we can have guests like Elijah coming on and other guests. Yes.
Yeah, and speaking of new, so we're going to actually be talking about this whole new media. So we really want to thank Chris Hendricks with Bantucola
Yeah.
for making the way for us to do with Hopin, moving it from Hopin and adding Facebook Live and LinkedIn and probably some other things that I'm forgetting. And then WBQP TV channel 12, Vernon
Okay.
Watson.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of people who just excited, and they said, I saw you on TV. And I'm like, what? So I'm always excited, just excited. Vernon Watson, Vernon and Mary have been around for decades and making sure that the community gets to be seen, and that all of these amazing programs that are out there all across the world get to be seen right here in Pensacola. They, the longtime owners for WBQP TV and Channel 12. And so we're really grateful that for the last, month or two, we've been going on TV as well. So really excited about that.
Yeah. Our media partners, we just can't thank them enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's making a difference. More people will get access to the information. Yes, but we also want
Yeah.
folks to join us on the Hopping platform when they get a chance, especially on the first hour we do networking. And so today I got a chance to meet Rodney Jackson. He'll be coming into town here soon and working with the
Oh,
Student Community Institute. And so that's the power of networking. You get to meet people and chat with people. And so here, like we're broadcasting, so on Hopin, but you're seeing it on Facebook and LinkedIn. But it's not like Zoom where you have to have your camera on. So when we're on stage, you don't have to have your camera on. The only time you have to have your camera on is when you're networking and talking to somebody. Otherwise, you don't have your camera on, so you don't get burnt out, from this stuff. And it's a really great opportunity, to meet people. So like Robin and I, we have to look at each other.
don't say that like that's a bad thing, baby. Lordy, have mercy. Somebody would get the wrong idea. What he really means is Robin and I love looking at each other. That's what he
Yeah,
really
we love
means.
looking
But
at
you
each
said
other. But I have to keep my best
but
behavior when I'm on camera.
yes,
So
yes, you do. Yes, you do. So we're excited. Rodney Jackson is coming back to Pensacola, and as you said, to be working with the Studer Community Institute. And Rodney I think he's from Pensacola. He certainly has a long history here and family here. But he was a longtime banker. I think he was a commercial
yeah,
banker. So
yeah, he's still in the
really
bank
kind of,
industry.
Still in the banking. Okay, I think
Yeah.
he went to Texas and still, but he really 10, 20 years ago, he really was one of those foundations for especially a lot of us new bankers in town. When I was in banking, Rodney was one of those people that you could go to for mentorship and experience. So it's really good. It would be really good to have him back into town.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really, really, really great. I think it's definitely will be a positive impact on the
Yeah.
community and be in a position to kind of help move things forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I do
So
a shout out? We don't
sure,
do shout outs, but can I do a
go
shout out?
go right
So this
ahead
is
there.
the this is a VIP for September. I'm going to hold it up like this.
Okay,
VIP for September, but in it, our good friend and an amazing community member. I'm going to see if I can show you here, Sean.
okay,
Sean Hartsfield here is a founder of Hype Pensacola. They did a
fantastic.
give back, yeah, a school giveaway, and at Oakwood Terrace Apartments back in August. And so they have a full page spread in VIP Pensacola. So thank you, Sean, do for Pensacola and for families and for education and for the community. And so it's really good that you can see that visual in the VIP Pensacola. So we're excited to see him there.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. The media, our local media, has really been trying to showcase the Black community, and so that's really fantastic that that's going on. The news journal's been doing a really good job. Channel Three been doing a good job, and yes, and so yeah, we're excited that the media is also doing some positive things to support the Black community.
Yeah, Reverend Powell always says, "What you'll see, you'll be." Image. Oh my, image breeds inspiration. You said it enough. I should know it. It's a powerful statement. Image breeds inspiration, and what you'll see, you'll be. So it is really great to see these beautiful images. We know that folks have been doing these things for hundreds of years, but the visuals often haven't followed that story, that narrative. So it's a beautiful thing to see the diversity in it, and with such amazing and positive stories. So we are just really, again, so grateful for Sean and other people out there who are doing great work in the community. Keep doing it. Right on. Keep doing it.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
doing it. So when
Well,
y'all see Sean, tell him thanks for doing that.
yeah, and what I think about Pensacola, and I've lived in quite a few different cities, and I notice here in Pensacola, you see more organizations doing stuff to help people than any
Yeah.
place I've ever lived, and so I think it's really fantastic the work that's going on here in
Yeah.
Pensacola and the support. But we still got a lot of work to do and to close that wealth and equity gap as far as that stuff. So we host a Pensacola network to allow people to get connect with each other and get connected to information that can like help move them forward. And so I think it's really fantastic. But earlier I did mention some of our partners. Like we
Mm.
run the Pensacola network out of DeVilliers Square. Most people call it the Eddie Todd building, but you know, but yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely miss our in-person events, and we definitely appreciate that partnership, and also with
Yeah.
True for Youth with Reverend Powell. He's been an anchor in the community, doing good, and so we just appreciate all of our partners that help move the needle, and try to make things our community a better place for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I remember we were talking about Robert Hill. He said last month, I forgot about this. And when I was on the radio this morning, I forgot to mention it. He said, go by the dwarf and get you some chicken. So, we normally provide that, but you can still support these amazing local businesses
Oh
like
yeah,
Niecy Lutley Jones at the dwarf, like Byron Long at
Blue Dot,
Blue. Yep.
Five
Um,
Sisters, one of our
Five
one of our
Sisters. Yep. JP
business
John
sponsors here.
Pierre.
Yes.
at Five Sisters and the great staff over there. We got some amazing partners right there in the historic Belmont de Villiers, and we have a new coffee and smoothie. Hope to get them on November, just to
Okay.
do a shout out. But a new business right there that's serving coffee. I think they're open coffee smoothies and a cafe style. So we're really excited. People remember where the Gathering Awareness and Book Center was Georgia Blackman's store before she retired a couple of years ago. So that's
Yes.
new in there. So we're really excited to have that. I think
Well,
Michael Allen is behind that.
yeah, I can't wait to check them out. I saw somebody coming out of the door. I didn't realize they were open
Yeah.
today. Yeah, it's actually really nice running a business and living down on the blocks. It's really a neat thing, and we're still working to kind of grow it economically, and get more black businesses down here and more opportunity to kind of move the community forward. So we, yeah, so we could go on and on forever here. And so, but I think it's really fantastic how the community comes together and to try to move the needle, all the good things that are going on. So who do
Yeah,
you
and if you
have
have
for?
some good news, well, if you have some good news before we go to Elijah, if you have some good news, post it in the either on Facebook to share with our great viewers and audience, our partners, so that they can help spread that word. So if you have an event coming up, or if you just have
Yes.
some good news to share,
Oh
so
yeah.
please do that and share. We may have you know. 65, 75 people, on the different platforms immediately. But what happens is, and we notice right after, the numbers go up to almost 200, they will go back and view. So by Monday, it'll be like 200 people who have seen this. And then that number just exponentially increases. And so it's these platforms really do work, and the social connection in this digital age is a wonderful thing. So please make sure that you share whatever events that you're having, especially now toward the end of the year, fundraisers and things like
Yeah.
that, business opportunities, you need volunteers, whatever that need is.
Yeah, and you're welcome to post any information of value on the Pensacola Network Facebook page, and that's what it's there for, to help the community be aware of what's going on in the community. So if you have any news, you just or if you paste something on Facebook, tag me in it, and I'll be glad to share it as well. But feel free to post. Yes. All righty. I think I did my part. It's time for you and Elijah to do your part. So, Elijah, if you come turn that camera on, I'm excited to kind of hear a little bit more about the, NFT stuff. And, we had a guest on Start on the Blocks a couple of months ago, and he started talking about it. So we're going to let Elijah bring it on home. So I'll leave it up to you and him. Just let me know if you need any help, Elijah, Robin.
Got you,
Okay,
got
all
you.
right. Well, you
Everything
may
sounds
come.
okay?
Yeah, everything's
Yeah,
good.
we can hear you. Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. Welcome, Elijah, and welcome everybody to the Pensacola Network Show. Yay! That's everybody in the audience. Elijah clapping for you. You don't hear them, so I'm representing everybody. Represent. I'm really excited to have this conversation today. I love art, and one of my favorite artists is John Michel Basquiat, who died at the tender age of 27 in 1988. He sold his first piece of art for $200, I think, in 1981. In 2017, long after he died, he sold a piece of art, or a piece of art was sold, a piece of his art was sold for $110.5 million. And then, I mean, it was like one of the highest in the world, and certainly one of the highest for an American artist. He's African American artist, born to Haitian and Puerto Rican parents. And he was born in New York. And so that's amazingly exciting. Fast forward from 2017 till today, just in March of 2021, an artist by the name of Beeple,
Right.
Mike Winkelman, sold a piece of digital art for $69 million, 69 point something, but we'll round it to $69 million.
Right.
And that, so he sold it as an NFT non-fungible token. So I'm going, what is this? What is this whole hype? So I ran into Elijah a few months ago, at one of his many entrepreneurially places, and
Activities.
so
Right.
so I had not seen him. I looked at him and I said, you look familiar, and so I've seen him grow as a preteen into this amazing young man. And when he started talking, I asked him what he was doing. He's now a 19-year-old college student, entrepreneur, comes from an amazing family. We'll talk about that in just a second. And I said, what are you doing? He started talking about this NFT art. And I said, you've got to come on the Pensacola Network show. And so I'm excited to have him, such a young entrepreneur, again, comes from an amazing family, and he has this wealth of knowledge with this emerging technology. So please welcome entrepreneur, student, and digital artist, Elijah Rigsby.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Miss Robert. Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here to have this conversation with you. Like I said, you come from an amazing family. So let me just first give some shout outs to your mother and father,
I should
Rebecca
appreciate
Hale,
that.
Rebecca Hale and John Rigsby. People may know Rebecca Hale. She's been associated with the Pensacola Human Relations Commission for a couple of decades, I think.
So,
Certainly knew the someone whose shoulders we all stand on, Eugene Brown, and she had been as previously the executive director, and then your father, John Rigsby, who is a serial entrepreneur, and who I always say looks like he just stepped out of a GQ or shoot. I don't know how he does it, but John always just looks dapper. so,
for sure.
so you're standing on some good shoulders. So what do you have to tell us about your parents? It's just a couple of people listen. Don't worry about it. It won't get out. It won't get out.
Yes, man. I just say this about them. I always appreciate them for being behind me in every endeavor that I take in my life. And like you said, they're always definitely some strong shoulders for sure that I'm standing on. And like I said, I just want to appreciate them for everything. They support me. Anything I've done in my entire life, they've always supported me. So I just want to say I appreciate them for this. I know they're probably listening around here somewhere. So I just want to say shout out to you guys. Love you guys. And yeah.
That's right. That's a good son. That's a good son. I do want to, it just reminded me when you said that. I think one of the first things I saw, I don't remember how old you were. I think you were probably 12. Maybe I want to say maybe you were 12 or 13 and you had the bow tie business.
Oh yes, ma'am. E. Alexander. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How old were you when you started that?
I think I was actually 12.
Okay.
I think actually the age was 12. I ran that for a few years, and then kind of, the broadening of age, as I like to say. I explored a lot of different avenues, and this is just kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. How did you get? We'll talk about your art, but how did you at such a young age? How did you get that bug? So I know you got it from your mother. I know you get it from your father, but how did you get it? What made you say this is something that I want to explore?
For the most part, I really just came to understanding when I was young, just seeing my parents, grind out and try to live life kind of catered in their own way, so to speak. And I felt like the really only way to do that was to be an entrepreneur and to pursue your own dreams in a way that you believed was, of course, financially, because that's a big part of, having a job, is having responsibilities and things like that, is to be able to support yourself and those around you financially. And that was pretty much it. Me and my dad talked about it when I was younger. He kind of introduced me.
Wow.
My mother helped me with the backing, of course. pushing that idea and trying to install that in me at a very young age. And it's probably, I definitely say one of the heavy reasons as to where I'm at right now is because of things like that.
Did you see your peer group as you came up the age ladder as such? Did you see your peers being involved in any entrepreneurial ventures like you?
I have definitely seen a fair share. Actually, shout out Booker T. Washington, by the way. I actually am an alumni of Booker T. Washington, and I was actually in the marketing academy, and I've seen a lot of great and amazing entrepreneurs come up around me, and just seeing different businesses just grow and develop. And I think it's definitely an amazing process for sure.
Is that the one that Miss Ross runs?
Yes, Miss Carla Ross. Yes, I believe she
Carla
is
Ross,
now.
yeah.
Unfortunately, retired. She retired after I graduated. And yes, that was there under Miss Ross, Miss Carla
So
Ross.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that academy. So that to say exactly what you said, that really propelled them to think bigger than
Right.
selling the lemonade, which is a great gig, right?
Definitely.
But
If
it
you can
really
scale
did.
it up, I believe it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the point, doing what you do and then figuring it out. Lloyd talks about that often, how to scale. Yeah. So when did you start thinking about art? Not the digital art, but just art in general, because you told me earlier that you started out as in a different medium with your art. Tell me about
Right.
your first art.
Um, as a younger kid, I realized, or not so to speak, just from those around me, I've been told that my art skills are a little bit higher than most common people. So I've always felt like I've had some sort of artistic side, so to speak. I really started out with drawing. I really didn't do too much painting, really just a lot of drawings and things like that. Um, Pretty much my whole middle school, early high school career, I was in art. I was in art classes and things like that. Even now, I'm still taking art classes now that I'm in college. So it's always just kind of been a part of me for the most part, especially when it comes to schooling.
Did you see art around you? It's what was the influence there?
Honestly, I really don't view that much art in all honesty. I really just
Okay.
intake things in my head, and I try to take as a creative of an approach as I can to most things. And that just comes from my own creativity in my head, really. I may see something, maybe walking down the street, or I may be driving, or I may be online, and I see something creative, and I'm like, I can manipulate it in this way, and that might look cool. Somebody might think that's appealing. So that's really my creative process. I couldn't really even name probably three artists in all honesty. I don't look at too much. Everything just kind of comes from me.
Well, then I have to tell you about a couple of my favorite artists, but who I mentioned at the outset, John Michel Basquiat, who was a graffiti artist and a graphic artist, and so I do want to make sure to say that you are a student at Pensacola State College now, and you are looking to get into their art programs, into their visual art programs, which is how I learned about, not being enrolled, but knowing some of the professors over there, Professor Mark Hopkins and Chris Lynn, who's now retired, but learning about John Michel Basquiat. So that really did open up my eyes to see a different form of art, to see graffiti art in a new way. So why did you choose to major, or to go into this major? You're a sophomore already there, a second year student there. Why did you choose to go into digital or media arts in general, I guess?
So I would say in marketing, I realized, as like I said, I kind of had an artistic side. A lot of people kind of, uh, I guess you could say, geared me more towards the creative aspect as far as marketing goes. Knowing, of course, the basics of marketing and things like that, but actually how to appeal to people visually, so to speak. So the graphic arts is really where that came from, steering me in that direction. I've always had like a passion for business and things like that. So the marketing kind of just all ties in together from the start.
Okay.
And it just mixes my creative Honestly, I don't think personally I'm all that artistic. I think I can be very creative, but it just kind of mixes those two mediums for me, the business and the creative aspect.
Nice, nice. Well, let's get over to the digital art. So when did you move from this, you said you started out with drawing and then moved into the more graphic deal. When did you move over to digital art, and what was that transition like?
In high school, I was enrolled in like the tech classes, so of course I went through all the Microsoft programs. Sometime during I believe that was my sophomore year of high school, I actually was introduced to Photoshop, and that was basically my main thing for a while. Just basically, I just fell in love with it. Basically, in all honesty, just the aspect of creating things, pulling different images, finding inspiration just from playing around. I just thought it was awesome in my opinion. Then I of course moved on to the other aspects that Adobe has to offer, like After Effects and Illustrator and all those types of mediums.
Okay, okay. And so then this new medium, let's get into this new medium, this non-fungible token, which I had to look up, and not Wikipedia. I had to do some deep. Wikipedia is a great place to start. Go scroll down to the resources. It's a great place to start. But this is a new market, a new currency that is closely associated with cryptocurrency.
Right.
It is seeing art, the value of art, in a very different way. So it's not so fungible, meaning that I can exchange $10 for two $5 bills. I can't
Right.
do that with non-fungible tokens. So tell me about this idea of non-fungible token art.
Okay, got you. Just as a precursor, before that, I feel like it's important to speak to somewhat of its predecessor, which, in my opinion, is cryptocurrency itself, or more
Okay.
so the technology actually behind cryptocurrency. So, cryptocurrency is basically essentially a decentralized network of public ledgers, which is called a blockchain. So, a blockchain is basically the main component as far as how cryptocurrencies and digital assets alike operate. So before we get into NFTs, I just kind of want to mention that as far as the blockchain and actual cryptocurrency.
So that's kind
Uh,
of like the foundation for NFTs.
right, all this
Okay.
technology as far as digital assets, which cryptocurrency and NFTs alike are both digital assets, they're both
Okay.
supported and founded based strictly on this blockchain technology.
Okay. 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 All right.
Uh, I'm sorry.
So why did you get into this particular one? What value did you see in the value of again? So before I get there, let me let you finish explaining how the art works in that, and then tell me why you thought that that was something good for you.
Okay, got you. For the most part, NFTs came to me fairly recent ago. I would say, is that June-ish, somewhere around June. I had been
Okay.
seeing a lot of these images on social media, as far as especially like the artwork that you had mentioned earlier, the crypto punks, which I'm not sure some of you may be familiar with. I've been seeing a lot of these different art pieces and collections popping up and selling for millions of dollars, and I was very curious as to say, well, what's going on here? Early in the year, I was actually introduced to cryptocurrency. So from January to February, I've pretty much been heavily involved in that space. And then the
Okay.
NFT space was brought to me, and then I realized, hey, these things are basically one and the same. So that was pretty much my introduction to NFTs, and I just pretty much just been researching, investing, pretty much everything in between for the most part.
And so the good thing, I think, uh, especially with digital art, where, and we talked about, Lloyd and I were talking earlier about social media, and if, just in case, let me say this real quick because my battery's going down. So if I do, my computer was tripping earlier. I'll be able to hop on. So Lloyd, if you see me go down, I'll need you to jump in quicken. But my computer is back up now. So the just lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you get 25, Elijah.
No problem.
Um,
Take your time.
uh, what was it? Oh, so so ownership. So a big part of digital art has to go to ownership, so that if I take a photo and then I share it, I share it on Facebook may decrease the size, manipulate it, and then I share it, then someone else shares and someone else shares it, then I may lose ownership of that. So as opposed to a physical piece of art, NFTs are digital only, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and
There
so
are, I'm sorry,
go
there
go
are
ahead.
means into which people are placing them into the physical world, such as like projections, holograms,
Oh, okay.
VR, virtual reality, and things of that nature. So, but for the most part, it is strictly just online for the main.
Okay, so strictly digital. And but the ownership stays with the art. So you never lose, regardless of how it's manipulated, you never lose ownership. There's always this tracking mechanism to do that. Is that correct?
Correct. Uh,
Okay. What does that mean for you as an artist to have that? Because you mentioned that you saw these millions of dollars. What does that mean for you as an artist to retain ownership of your work? And I hope you can show you have some incredible work that you shared with me earlier that I hope that we can bring up, especially the
yes,
one.
if
I
you would
love
like,
that
I'll
one.
pull that up in a second if you would like.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes, but just to kind of speak on it, I think it's a very important piece. I think the technology alone, as far as the blockchain technology, is going to be very prevalent here in the next, honestly, I'd say 2 to 5 years. A lot of businesses and things like that are going to be changing their business models as far as how they, especially as far as luxury brands go. They're going to be very
Right.
strict in terms of using this blockchain technology to verify and authenticate their items. I honestly, so many brands will start moving towards this technology. It's just pretty prevalent that people kind of get at least somewhat in the know now while it's super early. Because thinking on it from hindsight, it's really just since January, February that these spaces have basically exploded and they're only going to continue to grow.
Like that $69 million, the one that was sold by the artist Beeple. And speaking of luxury brands, he made a I think he's now in South Carolina. He made a deal with Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton? Uh, I believe he
I
made
believe that's what I read as well.
yeah,
It's
that
been a
he
while. I
made.
can't remember.
Yeah, but so that his work, that you see this, so he sells this piece of art purely digital, $66 million. And that was, I mean, so obviously that's the high side, but I think also read that the average NFT still sells for $150,000. And like you said, this is still very early in this.
Right.
And to your prediction, you think that this is only going to increase in value. The prices are going to continue to increase.
The demand is definitely there, especially
Okay.
financially wise, not even just as an investor, because a lot of people are still in this space just from the perspective of, I like art. I think it's cool to
Yeah.
have this art and being able to verify it, and having it in this 3D space where I can basically take it around and show people, or I can get some sort of digital frame, as I mentioned earlier, and place it kind of like the frames we have in the background, and it just constantly display this
Mm-hmm.
digital image of mine. So I think from that perspective, there are two sides to the NFT space for the most part. There are those who are looking to profit, which are most of the artists, or what I like to
Mm-hmm.
call resellers. And then you have, just your art curators that actually just like collecting art and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Which is going to make it. I love art, and I think our house reflects that. Which is going to make how you display that work. You have to think about that differently as well. Not just going to the store and buying a frame or having a frame especially made
Right.
that you're going to have some technology to show your art, if
Right.
you're going to publicly share your art. Why don't you bring some of your art up? I'm gonna Lloyd, do you need help with that, or you I know
I'll pull it up here. I should
you're a tech guy, you got this.
be able to pull it up here. This is just one of my pieces that I have. It's available on OpenSea, and you can view it on all of my social media platforms, which I left a link for that in the stage post,
Okay,
in the
all right.
stage chat. Let me just share, make sure it's the right one. It's kind of full screen for a second. You guys can take a look at that piece up there.
Okay.
That's just one of the one-on-one pieces that I have developed over the last 2 to 3 months. For the most part,
Now,
I use
can
a
they
mix. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, let's make sure I
Yes,
hear
they can
you.
see it. Yeah, they can see
They
it.
can see it. Okay, great. All righty. And what's that called, Elijah?
This one particular one that I call is called Both. This piece of artwork I call Both.
That's my favorite one. And so I
And
did
mine
not
as
know
well, honestly.
I
That's
did
why I
not
pulled this
know
one up.
that it was. So talk about the 3D-ness of it.
From the 3D aspect, this one is a straight medium, or I'm kind of throwing out terms. Sorry about that. This is more of just a 2D medium, mix of a few different programs. No real 3D programs here for the most part. And this particular piece, just a use of a few video editing techniques that I use to kind of give it this feel and effect, this kind of life, so to speak. I'm sorry, am I still connected here? I just want to make sure. I'm sorry, it lagged. I'm sorry, could you say that again for me? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, can you hear me, Elijah?
There you go.
Okay, tell me what made you come up
With that.
and I'm gonna.
I'm sorry, I think I'm having some connectivity issues.
Yeah, my battery's going. I'm gonna
Hop
hop over to
Yes,
my other computer
Robin.
here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
All right,
log
sounds
off and you
good.
log back and
All
log back
right.
on.
Yeah, Elijah, it's coming through fine, and yeah, it looks pretty fantastic. And so it's actually animated. So it's not a movie. It's what is that, like a GIF or JPEG?
Technically, you could consider it a GIF, so to speak. It's
Okay.
a GIF, so to speak, or an MP4 file format. It's technically a GIF for the most part.
But yeah, okay, but you can do two-dimensional stuff and I guess video clips as well.
Yes, you can. Technically, they'll all pretty much be a mix of 2D / 3D creation for the most part.
Okay.
If you give me a second here, I'll pull up one of these other images.
Okay, sounds good.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I posted a link to a story that was done earlier this month. They were teaching elementary school kids about NFTs and art. So they're getting them involved in it really, really early. Yeah.
And I think actually from the perspective of depending, especially as far as my purpose, generational wealth.
Yes.
A lot of these things are such early industries that it would be quite foolish to not, involve yourself, at least educate yourself. And, world, which is just growing rapidly, is kind of about it. People are basically millionaires from, and I think it's important as far as financial assets for the most part.
Yeah, so that brings up the question: how accessible is it to get into dealing with NFTs and art, or almost, how accessible is it? Can like a non-technical person get involved in it, or what's the
I would say so. In all honesty, just to speak, I'm sorry. A technically 3D created medium. This piece is called Visage of a Wreck. This is one of my other pieces that I have on OpenSea.
Okay.
but for the most part, it's fairly easy to create an NFT. Of course, it does cost. It's not super expensive as far as like the gas fees, which are the actual basically cost of energy, which is allows it to be actually attached to this blockchain, which is called minting. That particular process of it being added to the blockchain is called minting, which kind of like minting art, basically.
Yeah. So walk us through. Let's say you created a piece of art, or walk us through what you have to do to take advantage of this NFT space.
For the most part, first off, you would have to create your artwork. That could be 2D or 3D, moving image or still. And there are many different ways to create that for virtually free nowadays. There are programs like, just to name a few, Adobe Sparks, Canva, and there's probably a few other free ones out there that you could create your own artwork with. There are probably tons of free stock photo images that you could get, clip arts, you name it, video clips, all types of things that you could use to create your artwork there. Then you would proceed to go to a actual NFT exchange, so like OpenSea, and there's like 2 other primary ones.
Okay, so there's platforms for NFC and OpenSea. So I'll put a link to that. So it's OpenSea.
Yes, sir. .io.
Okay, let me see. I'll try to pull it up here.
So you can see my face a little bit.
Okay, I think I got it, but it's pretty. Yeah, okay, yeah, it did come up correctly. OpenSea, as in sea, like the water. Okay.
Yes, sir. OpenSea.
Yes. Me being in the technical space, I thought the letter C, like the C programming.
Which is C programming, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a market space. So what would be the equivalent of that in the non-NFT space? Would that be like Amazon Marketplace, an equivalent to the non-NFT space?
Right. So like Amazon or any type of third-party seller, you can technically consider art galleries, those third-party sellers as well.
Okay, I understand. So you create your art, and then you create an account on this, like the platform like OpenSea.
Right, and then you'll attach it to your account. There are a few, I would say, for those who are interested or planning to enter the NFT space, to do a little bit of research. I always encourage doing research as far as doing this, involving yourself in this space. Saying that, I would like to say that I am not a financial advisor, and I do not know everything completely about this space. But I would just like to throw that out there. I am a strong advocate for doing your own research and being your own information bank. If you hear something from someone, I always believe you should go and do fact checking for yourself. I definitely recommend involving yourself as far as the crypto space. Not necessarily every crypto in the world. There's, I think, about 5,000 or so. It's probably more than that now. But not too long ago, it was only 4,300 cryptos in the world. There's probably a trillion now. In all honesty, everybody wants to become their own crypto creator. And then involve yourself in the NFT space. Just because, like I said, there are a lot of technicalities involved with minting it and adding it to the blockchain, and just familiarizing yourself with the actual cryptocurrency technology itself will just help you along with your NFT processes making.
Let me ask one more question, Robin, before.
I'm glad I'm back on and came in at that point, because you bring up an important financial part that I want to ask him about. This is so fascinating.
Okay, yeah. So we have several Black artists here in town. I mean, it's just so many of them, and so like Carter J, he does a lot of artwork. I don't know if you met him, and Carlos Cowles, he has some interesting artwork, and so I guess my point is you have a lot of people of color in this space, and they may or may not be making money off their artwork, or they're making a certain amount of money. So should they be trying to get involved in this NFT space?
I think I think now, if any time, would be pretty important as far as awareness goes. I feel like anything can be accomplished as long as you have some good marketing skills, or at least someone around you to push these, push your brand and things like that. Making connections, networking. If you have those skills, I feel like it's not necessarily too hard to push your brand or your artwork and things like that. But I think as far as NFTs as a whole, right now there's so much focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can get some type of traction or something like that, getting into these groups, I recommend, just if there are any NFT creators or anybody that's just interested in what artwork people are buying, I recommend, and I'll make sure to put it in the chat here, following at NFT, getting into the NFT discords, following the social medias that are posting, the largest sales for the day. I follow a few of the largest NFT basically news networks there is currently, and they basically keep you updated as far as what popular collections are about to drop, how much traction they have, how many people are looking at them. And this is great for investors as well, because you can actually kind of hone in on, hey, I might buy this piece right here and sit on it for 4 to 5 months. I think that's very important. Like I said, I've invested heavily in NFTs myself. I'm a strong NFT advocate as well as a developer. I love looking and collecting NFTs and things like that as well. So.
Okay, sounds good. I don't want to take Robin's spot here, so I'll let him.
Oh, no. Thanks for hopping in there. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So my old point in that question is we have a lot of artists, here in the area, and that are creating great work, and some of them already have a really great followings. And so,
right.
What are they missing out by not looking into this NFT space? And because let's say they're making a certain amount of money now, the NFT, I'm assuming, only just going to allow them an opportunity to make more money, in a different medium.
Right. And if they have some sort of skill, which you don't need to create the NFT artwork using some sort of computer program at all, you could honestly take a picture of the image and then post it online and sell that as an NFT as well. There are lots of different ways that you can take the approach, or you can have it based on a canvas. I believe you might be able to get it scanned or something like that. But I think like I said, I think it's a great opportunity. I wouldn't say every artist would need to do it. I wouldn't say it's something that's necessary on your list, but I would consider yourself, if you are an artist or if you just want to be involved in the space, then it's definitely the way to go.
All right.
Well, I do want to ask two questions, Elijah. But one, when you're talking about the money, artists will say, and I mentioned that, so you're at Pensacola State and Professor Hopkins is over there, and right. I'm sure he would say, you better ask this question, Robin Richard, that it's, that you're doing, artists should do art for art's sake, for the sake of it,
right.
This creative expression that you are there. Have you seen in feeds, in your research, have you seen those who are getting into this space just to make this money, especially on the heels of this $66 million value exchange sale that Christie's did on behalf of the artist Beeple?
For the most part, I've seen many, just to say, most sales come out of collections. In my opinion, from the study that I've done. So having small, large, for the most part, just collections, and kind of having your fan base or the average consumer kind of differentiate between the different costs. So a lot of times NFT sales are fairly low. They're very high in the resale value, which is just people trading the art pieces and things like that. Because like I said, these collections are limited. So an artist may do a collection of 100 pieces, and that's it for that collection. Mm-hmm. So the resale value tends to be pretty high, especially if you're an artist with some sort of fan base or something like that, which are always the ones that you want to kind of look towards investing to as well. Someone that's kind of already established.
so when you say collection, then that does mean that you have to then do the art. You can't just, I just can't throw up this glass and say, oh, then, you know, I'm going to make this into art. You really do have to have a collection of a body of work then to present.
For the most part, but in all honesty, I won't throw any pictures up just because I do not want to discredit those artists in any form or fashion. I would just like to say, yeah, there are a lot of those type of images that float around and for absurd prices. I think that there was actually, if you give me a second here, I'm going to pull up an article actually from that news network. Give me 1 second here.
So this is, as you look for that, it's rapidly changing. This medium is rapidly changing, and is an emerging market. So your point earlier that you made about getting in early is a really good thing. Getting in, since this isn't a new and emerging market, then the value is a bit high, perhaps a bit inflated, but you can make, if an investor is looking for a way to increase their value, you're saying that this is one of those ways to do that.
Definitely, for sure, without question.
Okay.
Definitely, for sure. This up here is just one of the pieces of Chromie Squiggle. It's a collection of, I believe, 10,000 or 9,999, I believe. That's the number for the collection. But this is just a piece, just for example. It's a line, and it actually is animated as well. It changes colors along the path of the line or the stroke of the line. If you look there, it was sold for 0.25 Ethereum, which at the value of, at the time, which another thing about it, the value of cryptocurrency, which is the currency that you're dealing with when buying and selling these NFTs, you're actually buying and selling in cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So it was actually sold for 0.25 Ethereum, which at the time, 8 months ago, was valued at $750. It sold the other day for 922.5 Ethereum, which is $2.8 million.
Wow.
So you can see the quick appreciation in terms of financial value, and there's tons that increase much quicker than this particular one.
So your three, I think it went to 0.25, and you call Ethereum. Is that what you're saying?
Right, and in OpenSea you can list it in different currencies.
Okay.
Ethereum is basically the open runner or next runner to, I'm sure a lot of us have heard of Bitcoin before.
Yeah,
it's basically the next runner to Bitcoin. And so it tends to be the most popular one. That in terms of the actual transactions that occur on that particular blockchain happen a lot faster than those of Bitcoin. So the buying and selling.
I'm not your agent or anything like that, but I'm just going to compare what you just said, that this piece, this squiggle, this Chromie squiggle that you have on the screen was valued a few months ago at 0.25 and just sold for, I was trying to see the date for this article. This says 2 days ago. So if this is recent, the one you just pulled up, $2.81 million. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
That's just the animation for it. There's no sound or anything associated.
Wow.
And also, this is one of the main NFT pages I follow. They're very accurate in terms of their postings and keeping updated as far as collections and things like that.
So it says
I'm not a sponsor for them at all, by the way.
Sure. I got you. No, this is news. We're doing this for analysis, so that's all right. So that said for 0.25 8 months ago, which is what you have yours on. Now I think yours is 0.25. So what you're saying is to get in at this this lower cost, then you see this rapid rise, a rapid increase in the, perhaps not in the value, but in the price of the work. That's absolutely amazing. That puts it, I mean, all of us can understand the dollar, even if we don't understand cryptocurrency.
Right, that's why I just happened to share that with you. That one always, I've seen a few of those squiggles sold, mind you. I've seen probably about 5 or 6 of them sold within the last month and a half or so. So people are definitely catching on to that particular collection of the squiggles. But that's just one of, I mean, I've seen lots of different collections selling for those type of numbers. And the value necessarily So that, like I said, there's always two sides. So there's the buyer, or there's the maker, and then there's the consumer. So the maker, which in this case is the artist, they're making these art collections, which maybe 100 pieces, maybe 50, however many they decide to create. And then they're selling them for these somewhat, I would call, low numbers as far as art goes, or what they may consider. The artist, he is his biggest critic, so he prices things according to how he feels. They're pricing these things for low. Now, he priced it at $750, but if you multiply 750 by 9,999, which, don't quote me, but I believe it's the number for that particular collection.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about a lot of money, you're talking about a lot of money for sure. So it's easy for the artist to, make his profits. And then once they're sold, of course, he's not going to receive any additional funds because it's already out of his hands, and the resale is justified by the person who bought the artwork. But it basically helps boost his image.
Sure. But I think that is part of the conversation, this emerging conversation about should the artist continue to get this sort of residual sale because it is a digital work. So that is part of the, if I have a piece of art on a paper and then it's sold to someone else, I don't know that it's been sold and I may not get any residual. But with digital art, I may in fact get some, as an artist, may in fact get. I think that's part of this emerging conversation. You heard me say emerging a lot tonight because this is really
it is. It's an emerging world, and it's only going to continue to grow.
Yeah. Well, listen, this has been absolutely fascinating. And again, I'm sorry about the hiccups there, but I'm glad I was able to log back on on my computer to get that. This is fascinating, and we have linked your links, your what do you call that, at Icon Tradable. So we've linked your link. We posted your link. That's what I'm trying to say in the deal. And I don't know if there's any questions or anything, Lloyd, if you'll let us know if there are any questions on Facebook or anything like that. But Elijah, we do have some other questions, but I want to close out this point and just thanking you so much for explaining this. I know that you're not a financial investor, financial analysis. I know this is so important for me, and I think for the Pensacola network, to understand everything around economic development and community development, because this is a way to that young artists can get into it. It's an emerging market, but it's also a way for investors and to get into it, and so then that creates that economic development, buying and trading things. But it also goes to how we these new industries or new things in old industries, about how we place our young people like you, our young adults, and to these markets, and how they then educate us on these new things. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. I'll give you the last word on these NFT and art, or your art.
I just want to honestly take that time to thank you and Mr. Lloyd. I appreciate you all for having me on and presenting to you guys NFTs, my projects, and basically the space in general. I appreciate you all for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This is absolutely amazing. My head is going, what? Yeah, thanks for helping us with this deep dive into this. This is really fantastic.
It's such an intensive space. It's just it can be overwhelming, especially getting into it just rapidly like this. I hope I was as clear and concise as I can possibly be.
Yeah. I promise I'm going to sound like a mama here and not to sound like your mama. You have an amazing mama, but I'm really proud of you. I've seen your arc, over the last 10 years or so, and it is really fantastic the way that you have taken your art and your love of art, your love of technology, and your love of entrepreneurship, and blended all of those together. I'm just so proud of you, and I know your story is still being written, and your journey is will still continue. But it's really cool to see you at this juncture. And thank you for saying yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Lloyd. Any questions or?
No question, but I do have one or two. But there's a lot of great comments from family members. They're watching and give a lot a lot of kudos. You got some aunties watching, and
Oh,
Oh boy, that's always welcome.
yeah. But
I
I
love
think
it.
yeah, I think the one thing I've heard about the NFTs. So like once you're once you your art is sold, if somebody else who buys it decides to sell it later, I understand you still get another commission when they sell it.
Uh,
So
there are a few platforms into which, and there are a few means into which
yeah,
transactions occur. So for the
hmm
most part, the transaction occurs on the platform. Most of the time, there is some type of extra funds that can be provided for the
residual,
creator.
yeah,
But there are things like extra wallets, which that's more like the cryptocurrency space. I could probably touch on it
yeah,
here. It's more like different wallets, basically where you can store these digital assets.
yeah.
There are transactions that occur. Maybe if you have a friend that you have a particular art piece and you're like, I want to give it to my friend. I don't want to transfer it through the app or the like the
Oh,
OpenSea, the platform. I want to just send it directly to their wallet. So they'll get
Okay,
their wallet address, which is
okay,
your personalized address for your assets that store your assets. And then they just send it that way. And then, of course, the artist isn't going to get any funds if the friend decides, hey, I want to send you some money for this
gotcha.
art
Yeah, I
piece.
see. I see.
So it just depends on the medium in which the art was exchanged.
Gotcha. Okay, so
I
yeah,
think it speaks volumes that the twins. I think it's Winklevoss, and I don't remember their first names. The one who started, who have the claim to fame about starting Facebook with just forgot the face of Facebook now, his name. Um, but the twins, I remember them
Mm.
because they're rowers. But they got into this space, so that really says a lot about this emerging technology. So here you have some of the original creators of Facebook now into this space and helping to guide artists through so that they can increase their value. That's amazing.
I
yeah,
won't speak too heavily on this because it can this particular one is an intensive topic. Uh, there are a lot of big companies in play, especially as far as the banking system. The whole aspect of this decentralized network of transferring these digital assets is incredibly different, and it basically just consumed a lot of people's lives, so to speak, and a lot of systems that we've had in place.
Mhm.
So this the space is just honestly I'll say it's revolutionary, honestly. You could quote me on it maybe a few years down the road, but it's honestly revolutionary, to be honest, as far as how things are going to be handled here in the future. Facebook, especially one of those companies that actually work on developing a um, augmented slash virtual reality world using NFTs and things of that nature. As far as well as a bunch of other companies that are probably working behind the scenes as far as building these virtual worlds. And considering it's Facebook, they have connections to so many people. So establishing these virtual world and having these virtual NFTs, changing them in this virtual world, it's just going to be huge, and people are going to be able to connect with all sorts of people around the world. And I just think it's going to be great.
So you have Facebook, Mark. You have Facebook getting into this.
Right. There are companies like Google. I mean, the list goes on. There's a
Yeah, and then you have the some of the original creators of Facebook, the Winklevoss twins. I don't want to butcher their name. I think that's their name, but that's amazing because then you have. I mean, so we talk about angel investors and things like that. So that's really putting a lot of what's the word? Uh,
pressure.
cheese, cheddar, no money
Oh yeah, that too. And that's
behind.
very important.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. That's amazing. Do you see peers? I asked you about your peers in the space earlier, but do you see your peers in this? And I know you haven't gotten into at the college level, you haven't gotten into, but in the marketplace, do you see other 19-year-olds in this in this space as you are?
Not publicly. I like I believe in the fact that it's very, very, very early, extremely early, and a lot of people are not aware of this space and the things that are going on every day as far as this NFTs and cryptocurrency go. I kind of just link them interchangeably because they're both digital assets and they're basically one and the same for the most part. As far as peers go, I'm a big advocate as far as getting my peers, because my goal or my main purpose and try to do is for building generational wealth, and not just in myself, but in people around me as well. I believe that's a big part of my drive, so to speak. And I definitely try to get and, show as many people, especially my peers and people around me, this space and the things that are going on. Like I'll send my friends or people that I know a post associated with NFTs or cryptocurrency showing, the different transactions, or, for a lot of people, I'm just going to speak frankly. I hope this is okay. For most people, it's hard for people to get behind things if they don't see much. I'm still very new to this space, so my gains may not be extreme enough for some people to get behind me or get behind the idea of this space, so to speak. My gains in my eyes in my opinion, my gains have been phenomenal. I couldn't ask for more. That, and I have a vision for the future. So it's a lot easier for me to say, hey, I'll spend some money and invest in this, or I'll spend some time and invest in this space. And a lot of people like, oh no, they're doing this and they're doing that to get this kind of money. They're not really understanding the space as a whole. So it's just a lot of, as my father say, it just deals with miseducation and the need of education, so to speak. So I feel like if a lot more people get as far as the space goes, that conversation could be guided a lot smoother. Of course, I can educate people all I want, but I'm not a financial advisor and I can't tell you what to go do with your money. So I can tell you all day about, hey, I've done this. I think you should do this. But I just think it just comes down to seeing actual growth from it for a lot of people. I feel like that's what it boils down to.
Well, I think let me just put a pause there, Elijah. I think, I'm thinking of Earl Graves, when he started Black Enterprise. I mean, he really did. You talked about hustling and grinding. He really did have to hustle and grind, because what people saw during the I think during the 60s when Ebony came out, they were comparing his magazine to Ebony, saying here's another black owned and black focused magazine. But he was saying that I'm looking at enterprise, I'm looking at entrepreneurs, I'm looking at business, I'm looking at economic development solely in this space, not in the entertainment space, solely in this space. But then I also think of Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. They didn't need a whole bunch of people, to make their way.
Something happen. Right.
They kept in amongst some odds, so here you have, and I always think that we're standing on shoulders and the shoulders that they're standing on, but here you have people in history who have done this and who continue to again grind. And so getting, as you said, getting in early, you don't need a whole bunch of folks, but you do need the right information, as you said, the best information, but then just that continual grind and that hustle, with some good, solid, straightforward moral ethics as you're doing it, you a long way. So yeah, I just wanted to do it because you brought up a good point, about that being early. And I think being early is a good thing. Yeah.
And sometimes it takes someone to, just to kind of tag on to what you said, it takes someone to step out and do something that may not necessarily be easy or, simple in any form or fashion. And, it just sometimes it takes them to struggle and grow from it so that they can lead people behind them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't say I'm a leader in this space. I definitely just want to, like I said, my purpose is just to advocate for it and show, hey, if we get together, we can make things happen. That's really my purpose behind it.
Yeah, I'll say this lastly. I think the sheriff's department with Chief Simmons, and I think it may have been City Councilman Delarian Wiggins, who's also a sheriff. I think they started, and some other ones started that program to show young men, the suit and the tie and all this. And I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Reverend Powell, as what you see is what you will be that you can actually see that inspiration. So keep doing it, young and
Thank you.
doing it. I don't mean any disrespect by that.
No, I don't think
Keep doing it. Yeah, because you don't know who you're motivating to, to ask questions, to seek more information, and to gain more knowledge. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Unless we have any other questions, baby, I think we're
Okay.
good. This has been pretty amazing. This has been really amazing.
Yes, yeah. That I didn't see any more questions. But this whole I think NFTs, when you really it's not something that's too hard to understand. And so, when you just look at so it's disrupting these different markets. So it's disrupting the way you traditionally do art, and it's disrupting. So it's just our whole economy now is looking for new ways to do things, and the NFTs is just it's a new way to do to do the artwork and different things like that. So it's not like it's too complicated to understand. And so, like, if you want to learn about, so I downloaded an audio book, and I'm over halfway through with it right now, and it's giving you a pretty good understanding. So it's not really complicated. So my point is, it's accessible to anybody who wants to learn. So the question is, why should somebody learn about it? And
baby, everybody ain't gonna download no audio book. That's why we have Elijah on here.
Well,
and I mean everybody, E, body ain't gonna download. No, yes, I
well,
do.
I wasn't recommending down. I said that's what I did. So, but anybody, you can go out and buy the books as well. So
they ain't gonna buy the book. That's why we have Elijah Rigsby on here. Because
what my point is,
I know what you're saying. I'm teasing.
Yeah,
you.
so he's introducing it to the stuff to everybody. So I just want people to understand that you can do it. It's nothing
absolutely
technical about it. It's not beyond what anybody can do, and they're teaching elementary school kids on how to create art and how to get involved in this stuff. Yeah. So I think it's just a way that we can be involved and participate in the future, what's happening in the future, as opposed to, being on the outside looking in. And so
we got our own Professor Rigsby right here. So we're gonna invite him we're gonna have to invite him to the Kakua Institute and really on that technology side, blending that art and technology. We'll have a separate conversation about that, Elijah, and have you come over, come down on the blocks and teach some of our students, about.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, honestly.
Yeah, that would get you and Professor Hopkins together and
make something happen.
Yeah. When you get over there, you tell him you need an A. He's gonna make you work for it. I'm sure. I ain't speaking for him, but I'm sure he's gonna make you work for it. Well, thank you again so much. This has been fantastic. Thank you to everyone who's listening in on this this part of the Pensacola network. We do so value you, and we value your time, Elijah, you taking the time with us to explain this. And like Lloyd said, for a lot of folks, this is really easy to understand. Some folks like me, it's it takes a bit of a massage and a lift up to help. You really did kind of you laid some good groundwork so that we can understand. And if we can't understand the technology behind it, we certainly understand 66 million and 2.5 million, and getting in it at a 0.25.
Numbers talk, Numbers talk for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So thank you. You did it amazing. Yes, all your aunties out there too. Thank y'all for.
Appreciate you all for watching. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you all.
Fantastic. Well, so we'll see everybody next month, and we're please consider participating in our networking from 5 to 6, and so you can actually meet some people and make some good connections to move forward. You never know what's going to happen.
And we'll have this video. This video will be kept on Facebook, on the Pensacola Network Facebook.
Yeah, on the Facebook.
Pensacola Network, and thanks again to Chris Hendricks with Bantucola for helping us with that. And we'll see y'all next month. Thanks, Elijah.
All right, thank you all. You have a
Thank
great
you,
rest of your
everyone.
afternoon.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye, everyone.